after you finally came out of the woods. And then, oh boy, not the happiest reunion.
Wait. Are we starting?
Yes.
Okay, I have fucking whiplash. You just came in and started with like no lead up. Okay, sorry, I was doing something else.
Joe said, "Are we ready?"
I did.
Okay, sorry, I was.
Still, there wasn't a whole lot of like
shit.
lead up nor downtime from the "Are you ready?" Because you said,
Okay.
"Are you ready?" And then like I was scrambling to hit the record button too. So you're not alone.
I was so like just popped in. Are you ready? I didn't say anything because I was doing something, and all of a sudden I hear this. I'm like, wait, are we starting? What the fuck?
Yes,
now
not the happiest.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, now I am.
Okay, not the happiest reunion. I'll throw off my groove. But then there was a great big flash and everything did changed. And Hawk's molecules got all rearranged.
How long have you been holding on to that one?
For about 5 seconds.
Okay.
But now we are in a weird spot. Electra has gone to have a drink and like just wait for things to blow over because God, there is no hope sometimes, but for a stiff drink during a very, very tense moment. So we're gonna pick right back up with everyone real stressed out and a couple people sprawled on the ground and Hawk like awkwardly standing up. A little bit of a headache. Let's do.
I was just about to say it's too quiet, Joe.
Gotta look for
You need
my
our stimulation.
Music.
See, you weren't even ready, sir.
I had it going. But yes, you are all standing around as Hawk kind of wobbly-ish, wobbly-legged stands up and rubs the side of her head. Ang, you are who you assume to be Hawk. She looks the same in the face. She just has slightly more red hair now. Hawkward. Yes.
Hawkward.
You almost made me spit my drink out. Thanks.
It is awkward.
And she rubs the side of her head. Ang, you are conscious after having blacked out. And I will say, because I think Electra took the sword from Hawk.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that you pulled the sword out, and Maddie, you can have confiscated the sword if you want.
Yes.
I'm gonna point out that
Hawk,
Willow
rubbed the
is
side of her head.
still pointing her gun at everybody, waiting to make sure that her threat is understood.
Mm-hmm. Pierre has his hands up.
She's not pointing it at Pierre.
His hands are up. Hawk, blearily rubs the side of her head, just goes, What happened? Where am
I? Aang is happier than I think anyone has ever seen her in at least 20 years. Stabbed as she is. I imagine, because she was sort of sitting up when we ended last session, that she is still trying to force herself to get up and is having a bit of trouble because she did take a huge chunk of damage. But even so, even with one hand pressed against this wound that's still gaping at her side, she looks up at Hawk and just smiling and nothing but adoration in these eyes. I know that it must be confusing for you, but it is as you've always wanted, Alexandria. I've finally done what I promised I would do.
She looks totally lost. And then her eyes slowly drift over to Willow, who's pointing a gun at her. And Hawk, there's a tense moment where she's like, wait. And then she turns and like goes for the sword that she thought was by her side, and it's gone. She's like, what? And she looks at you, Willow, and then just holds her hands out a little bit. Or holds her hands up a little bit. And then you can see her start to like slowly parse information. Like she's slowly piecing back together some of what happened and where she was and what transpired. What are you all doing? Paige, Maddie, Willow.
Paige is making sure Aang isn't gonna die. And also that she's not gonna go and touch Hawk's armor.
Oh, she's going to.
No. No, she's not.
Yeah, it's as soon as Aang seems to like start to like move more towards her feet, like
No.
Willow like
Hand grab.
yeah, Paige holding her down, Willow taking like a step forward and kind of motioning for Hawk to back up, and there is now space between the two of them. I think that somebody
Hawk,
needs to be
like
explaining a few things.
You can roll me diplomacy, or you can roll me intimidation, Willow.
She's not saying that to.
Not
I will
much...
like put in the caveat. She's not saying that directly to Hawk. She is just kind of like stating that.
Oh, okay. But you're trying to get Hawk to like kind of scoot backwards.
Yeah, she just kind of like gestures with her, like a hand and a head nod to like some space in between.
She hesitates for a second. Yeah, if you want to try and get her to move, even with a gun, you can roll it. We'll give you a +5 because
a gun's good for a +5.
That's 5. That's a hold on, math. 27 for diplomacy.
Okay, so Hawk looks at you and then looks at the gun, and then she looks down at Aang, and she will take a step back and to the left and kind of sit next to the well. And she is not facing she's not facing in this direction. She's facing towards Aang and Willow and Paige and the door here. She has not yet seen Dee Dee, who has been conspicuously quiet.
The second that like Hawk moves, Aang is going to try to move.
No.
The gun gets immediately pointed at Aang.
Maddie, oh, sorry, Aang, go ahead.
No. After you guys.
Maddie, you just rushed in, so.
Yep.
Yeah, Maddie.
Yeah, an explanation would be great. What the hell just happened?
When you like re-enter Hawk's line of sight, Maddie, there's a moment where she blinks, and then Hawk, like, she gets this realization on her face, like this look of realization. She just goes, oh shit. And she puts a hand on her head again, and she just goes, fuck. God damn it. She reaches out to kind of like touch you, Maddie, to kind of grab your shoulder. Both to steady herself, but also like in the kind of friendly gesture. Do you let her?
Yeah. She kind of turns her head a little bit towards Hawk to make sure she's okay. Kind of hearing her. Are you okay?
She nods, and she's like, yeah. And she like bends over a little bit and coughs into her hand. And it's an awkwardly long cough, but she steels herself and she just goes, "Are you okay? I don't know what came over me. I saw someone and then I just lost it. And you weren't supposed to know." And you can see that she's like, she remembers the fight. She remembers you introducing someone. She remembers hitting you. But there's holes.
As this conversation is going on, Aang is... The joy she's feeling is tempered by confusion. She looks at this gun pointed at her, Maddie glaring at her. She doesn't seem surprised by Hawk's confusion, though. And as this is going on, she looks to the others, but then turns her attention back to Hawk again, and once more tries to step forward. I imagine she does not get far, but she does try.
No. I imagine Paige is very gentle, of like, every time she tries to get up, just like a firm hand. Because Paige isn't very strong, but it's very much like a pressure of like, no, stay. Sit.
And Aang, with, again, just this very bright adoration, looks to Hawk. "'Twas I that you saw. Of course you cannot remember, but that's part of what happened. Alexandria, it's been so long since I've seen you so hale. This may surprise you, but I am your Angharad, your beloved, and there's a curious pause here as she opens her mouth to say something, and no sound comes out, and then she has to shift, and there's just a flicker on her brow as she has to shift. "I was your wife in all but name, and so Madigan never knew that was what you were trying to keep from her."
Excuse me?
Hawk is like dumbfounded.
Maddie will pick Angharad up, if that's okay.
I'm fine with it.
She will. I imagine like Willow will let Maddie get Aang to her feet, but if she like tries to do anything more than that, the gun very pointedly shifts to Maddie. "I will remind you that I do generally mean what I say.
And I'll remind you I don't care."
Hawk sees this going on and just like she takes a very half-hearted step forward. She's like, "I think we should all just lower the guns. Just let's talk this out. We're all just a little confused, and rightfully so." She looks at Angharad and with a little bit of apprehension and curiosity, and then like looks now sees Paige walking up and looks at Paige like, we could all just go in the bar and have a drink and talk this out."
Pardon me? Ok?
She looks down at you, Paige.
Hello. She kind of gestures about like a come here, because Hawk's tall.
Hawk is still kind of half raising her hands, but will stoop a little bit. Can I help you?
Yes. So, I think that you should come with me for a little bit.
She looks at the situation and at Willow, and then just goes,
think we should go on a little bit of a. We're staying at the inn, and we need to get your room and show you as we are saying. And then we're going to rejoin the group. So come with me.
The bed and
Take Hawk's
breakfast?
hand. Yeah. Take Hawk's hand. Starts walking.
She doesn't go with you. You
you
start walking and you like pull, but it's like trying to move a rock. And she's looking at Willow and the gun.
As this is happening, as Paige is trying to lead Hawk away, Aang is, even though she's being held by Maddie, she does reach out toward Hawk when Paige starts leaving her away, looking just very, very much, a little heartbroken. But we've only just reunited. Why take her away so soon?
We are coming back in like 5 or so minutes. Is it okay?
Ankara, you know that I don't generally speak too many untruths. Take my advice. Please be silent for at least the next 5 minutes.
Aang looks to Willow, looks around. There's sadness there, but also very clear consideration. And she bites her lip and then just slowly nods.
Your friend is going to be fine so long as she behaves herself. You can go with Paige.
No, she doesn't need to go anywhere. She has some explaining to do as well.
One person at a time, Maddie.
Yes, one at a time. So, I'd first and then up.
Apparently they know each other so well.
I don't know her, Maddie, and give me my sword back.
Okay.
There's clear confusion on Aang's face, and she looks to Willow almost as if she's asking permission.
And Willow, is staring at Hawk, and, I'm assuming, it's very clear on Hawk's face that she is being, fully upfront at the moment. She genuinely does not know Aang.
Yes. She genuinely has no idea who Aang is. You can try to roll any sort of if you want to get an emotional read on her, you can roll a perception check to sense motive.
Guess what I just took?
Oh, what is it?
Aura reading. Aura sight.
I
can the target's current apparent attitude towards you, their apparent emotional state, a general assessment of the target's physical health, such as what conditions or afflictions it might have. And you can roll my occultism against Hawk's deception for seeing if she is lying, if I can see through the lie.
Yeah, you can absolutely tell with that. She's not lying. There's not a trace of deceit on her. And I imagine, how do you imagine your aura reading? Because I imagine it's literally just it's Winter just pacing around the person invisibly, just no, not a trace of deception on her.
Yeah, I imagine
just examining her really closely.
It's a combination of whoever is prominent, doing a more close examination, and Willow having grown up in high society and being kind of trained in that way, being able to pretty easily read surface level. So the general attitude and emotional state, she can kind of pick up herself while Winter or Summer are providing the physical health and if they're being deceitful. The best of both worlds, though. All the Willows working together. Willow just kind of lifts her chin a little bit and looks towards Maddie. And I will turn the same statement I just turned on Aang toward you, Madigan. I do not lie. I do not cheat people out of anything. Hawk needs a moment to figure her own shit out.
Maddie seems to not be in a particular mood to be making sense. She's kind of jumping to conclusions, and she's just getting more and more angry with all the stuff going on around her. And with like what Ingrid had said, Hawk's confusion, hell, even the gun being pointed at her, it's just riling her up more and more. And her oh, go ahead.
No, you finish.
I was gonna say her eyes are starting to dilate more and get more animalistic, and her fur is just spiking out of control.
Imagine Willow.
Hawk is gonna try to intervene. Go ahead.
So I imagine Willow, like, seeing this. Hawk is not doing a whole bunch of shit. Aang is allowing herself to be stilled.
Yeah.
Willow will lower the gun and kind of step kind of catty corner and place a single hand on top of Maddie's forearm. Not pushing down, not pushing away, but like squeezing. Madigan, I think it is time to let your better nature in control for a moment.
Maddie, you're getting really riled up by all this really bad. So I will give you a hero point if you willingly transform. I'm not even going to roll a will save because I don't want to gamble on you actually winning and getting a hero point. I'd rather you just lose.
Wow, I wonder what might have inspired that, John.
You know what? I'll take that hero point. Maddie will just throw her arm back, like like not shrugging, but more aggressively, throwing Willow's arm off her. And what would you know? And she is just full on hulks out.
As she's hulking out, or she starts hulking out, Aang will. I imagine she's still being held up, or is she being dropped?
She's probably gonna be dropped at some point. So yeah, when she turns, she dropped Aang.
Aang is going to go in for a attempt a soothing hug, a CQC hug, if you will. And just very soft, no trace of fear whatsoever, tries to, smooth Maddie's hair. Madigan, dear heart, there's no need for such anger. Today's a beautiful day, a joyous day.
Hawk is gonna try to intervene because like you're touching Maddie. There's a gun. Maddie's transforming. Like Hawk is flustered up. And do Paige or Willow want to try anything here?
Yes.
Before stuff pops completely off.
Mm-hmm.
Paige has the perfect thing for this if she still has it.
Paige?
Soothe would be nice.
Okay. What? Go ahead and what does soothe? You have the you actually have the card right here.
Mm-hmm.
You grace the target's mind, boosting its defenses and healing its wounds. Target. When you cast a spell.
It's healing, but more so going for the effect of like calm.
Literally like
soothe.
Emotionally soothe.
Yes, emotionally soothe and calm down.
So let me read your bestial thing, because there's a specific way it works.
I don't know if it should be on Maddie.
Are you? Oh, you're not using it on Maddie?
I don't know.
I thought you were soothing the beast. Is the idea?
I don't know.
Okay.
Because on
Who
one
are you
hand,
soothing?
Maddie is getting very upset, but she has good reason to. And on the other hand, the main instigator of this is in fact Hawk. And her presence is making this a lot worse. And if Hawk's trying to intervene and get flustered, I don't know who would be better to just calm the fuck down.
Well, who would... Don't think of it like mechanically,
Okay,
like
so...
who would be the first person that like Paige would like instinctively like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just kind of ignoring the healing part of it. I'm more so thinking about this socially here. Of like, who would Paige think is like the one who needs to calm down more?
Mm-hmm.
And
Maddie
if Maddie
does
just
look like
fucking
she's about to eat someone,
transformed,
yes.
then yeah. I think she'd soothe Maddie.
So it's not a mechanical soothing. So I will leave it. No, it's yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant like. Sorry, I misunderstood you completely. Keep going.
Yeah. So since it's not like a hard mechanical effect, I will leave it up to you, Iris, if the soothe really reaches to where Maddie is, because there's nothing in your werewolf out form that would prevent you from like being casted upon in any way.
Mm-hmm. Would a line of what Paige says help? You decide.
I have an idea if you're willing to work with me here. So my thought is when Aang tried to hug her, Maddie just straight up roared at her and tried to like claw at her to get her to back up.
Aang kept going.
Oh fuck.
It was again a back up clawing, not actually attacking. It was a warning kind of thing. And if Paige wants to cast Soothe, if this is okay, Joe, could it maybe not fix the transformation, but kind of give her a bit of clarity? Mental clarity of like, oh shit, I'm in the middle of town right now.
So like the soothe like rests on your shoulders a little bit, and it doesn't take away like the confusion and anguish and like this person who was so near and dear to you keeping a secret supposedly for so long. Like it doesn't make that go away. So all of that just turmoil is built up in your heart, and it's boiled over. And you feel yourself transform, and normally when you transform you kind of just let go and you just fall into that kind of animalistic, just it's easier to be a beast sometimes. But in that moment the soothe kind of keeps you grounded. Like you're aware that you're transformed, you're aware like you're taller and stronger and faster than you normally are, and all of these people are around you, and it would just like being in the woods is where you want to be. Not like, you know, in the darkest part of the woods, but like nature is where you want to be, not like near town.
Not in civilization.
Yeah, and Hawk is reaching out to you, and she's like calling out to you, but also like trying to not step wrongly towards Willow, and she's also reaching for her sword because she does want her sword back too. It is to her like dangerous for other people to have it, but like it is just like you're more of just having like a really, really hard anxiety attack that also turns you into a wolf. Which kind of
Basically.
only makes your anxiety attack worse. Everyone around you is
I've
still
been
your
there.
but it's just like, boy, I really wish I didn't have to feel like screaming and crying my guts out right now. And I also wish I wasn't like 6.5 to 7 feet tall.
Yeah, it helped in the sense of Maddie having that bit of clarity. But with that clarity, she kind of sees everyone around her. And out of the corner of her eye, she sees Hawk reaching out to her and is having a really horrible flashback of a certain dream she had the night before. And in that panic, she runs.
Oh, fuck.
As she starts running, there's a moment of just confusion on Aang's face, not understanding what could possibly be upsetting about what has transpired or why it's going the way that it is. But as she sees Maddie leave, her eyes remain on Maddie for a little bit. She takes a step forward. I would take a step forward if I could. But I cannot. Forbidden forces are stymieing my advance. But she will take out a book from her wherever she keeps things. I didn't think about that part too much. And it is a collection of poetry. It's a poetry book. She holds it out open toward Hawk on the dedication page. And with her eyes still a bit on Maddie, looks back at Hawk. Look, read this, Bright Star, and see that I do not lie to you. But I have to make sure Madigan's okay.
Hey, Huron.
She turns. Willow?
I know that you are wanting to go after her, but I think it is best to let her calm down first. You may not care if you get hurt, but she will.
Angharad, just a weird combination of just determination and almost like just a bittersweet feeling. But I am bound to go where she goes for her own oath, and so I must follow.
Willow, just handless, is rubbing both of her temples at the same time.
I'm contractually obligated, Willow.
Looks at Paige, looks at Pierre.
Pierre has he has put his hands down and pulled out his own gun. He is not aiming at anyone, but he has it out.
Paige just gives a single nod of like, let her go.
Maddie, question. As you are like halfway beasted out. Well, actually, a question and a prompt. The question, do you take the sword with you, or do you discard it as you are running away?
You should take it with you, honestly.
You know, it'd be nice to take it with me.
Take it with you. Take it with you.
It was on her back.
Yeah.
She was carrying it on her back. Yeah, it was tied on her back.
You are running away. You have the Red King tapered to your back and your little sling where you normally would have your hammer, and you are just sprinting into the distance, and my prompt to you would be like, you did, you are benefiting from your moon rage. Effectively, you are benefiting from your moon rage, but you are not suffering any of the negatives of like reading anyone as an enemy. You're just at like an emotional high point. But what does your transformation actually look like? Because she's not a werewolf. Just, like mechanically she is, but like she's not actually a wolf.
So I actually have an image for reference here. So let me grab that. I don't know why I didn't grab it sooner. Let's see if I can find it. One second. Where is it? Let's go to Pinterest. So she grew like 2-3 times her size, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
She is normally, on the shorter side, but like dense is the word I would use. But as she was transforming, her arms and legs got longer and her muscles kind of like bulged out even more. Tab. And her hair and her tail, like all of that fur is now all over her body. Her arms are darker and her legs are darker, but the rest of it's all that orangey red color. Here's the image. For weird. I'm gonna put it in characters if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know this is a red panda, but I think you understand the gist here.
This but a fox.
Yes. This but a fox. The only thing is that the fur on her neck and chest area, it's not there. It's blank where her scar on her neck is.
No fur grows on the scar from around that area.
Correct. And while I'm at it, because I have not posted this yet, Maddie has new art.
It's really good.
Oh, you're right.
Here is where I thought I saved.
Technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties.
So many technical difficulties. So many.
I'm sorry. Joe, I sent it to you recently, didn't I?
I think you did, but I did not say
here.
that.
Iris here.
Thank you, Amy.
Based Amy. the most organized person.
I pinned it in our DMs.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
New Maddie art just dropped.
Hey.
It's so
the
good,
girl.
dude.
It's the girl.
We're so fucking big.
Right? It's fucking
I love it
huge.
though. I love it.
Thank for him. He did God's work.
Shout out to the homie.
Yeah, he insisted that it be bigger, so I allowed it.
Hell yeah. Getting fucking smashed to pieces with that thing. Holy shit. Hammer.
Amazing.
But yeah. So that's the wolf form or the fox form.
Mm-hmm.
And like her legs and arms are fully transformed. I don't think it has quite reached like her torso and whatnot, but like her face is starting to shift into that more maw look.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, she's running on all fours. She's going as fast as she can to get out of town.
You can hear from behind you, like before you get too far out of earshot, you can hear Hawk like yell after you. She's not coming. She watches you go, and she just is like kind of defeated, and then she turns back and looks at you, Willow and Paige, and goes, God. She just puts her hands on her hips. She looks back in the direction that you ran, Maddie, and then her eyes slowly drift over to a figure sitting off to the side. And she blinks, and like her eyes start to go a little wide.
Joe, does she not register the book at all?
Oh shit, you're right. Sorry. The book. You presented her the book. So she cries after you, Maddie, and then she turns to look at you, Angharad, as you mentioned the book, and she sees it and she recognizes it. And you can see the plain as day reaction. She kind of like looks surprised, like, how did you? And she reaches out and takes it. And she is now torn, because before, where just sheer disbelief sat, there is confused conflict of like, I couldn't have given this away, could I?
Does she read the inscription?
She will. Do you have the inscription?
Well, you came up with the inscription, Joe.
That. Okay, sorry. For a second I was thinking of like a specific poem, but I know I do know the inscription. Yeah, she looks at it and she's just staring at it. Paige and Willow, like, Maddie runs off. Hawk is like, see, this book exchange happens.
And Aang is trying to
I will say
after
Didi
Maddie.
has not. Yeah, and Aang, who is partially contractually obligated to.
So Willow just like looks at, when she looked at Paige and Pierre, it was not a permission. She's just like tired immediately, is stashing the gun. Oh, problem 1 or problem 2? Which one do you prefer? Well, problem 1
Paige
being Hawk and problem 2 being Aang.
Points to Hawk immediately.
Just, yeah. Good luck keeping her away. And there's just a like cut of the eyes towards Didi. And then looks towards Aang. We shall walk after Maddie.
Angharad looks to Willow, looks to Paige, looks over their shoulders at Maddie, presses the book into Hawk's hand, nods. I shall speak to you later of this matter. I promise I have the answers you seek. And as she says this, she then is going to get on all fours herself and take the fuck off.
Wildly fast. Hawk watches her take off and is just aghast, and then, like, as she starts to turn towards Didi, I'm gonna roll a stealth for Didi, because Didi's going to backflip hide behind a barrel.
I feel like everyone would know, hey, look over here. Get our attention again.
Oh, no,
yeah.
like, Willow was intending to go with Aang after Maddie, but she's just fucked off. And so Willow just like looks. Yeah, it seems like we are going to be doing this entire quest on our own. That's just fucking great. And she's not gonna fuck with Hawk, because, like, that's Paige's problem. Paige volunteered for that. And so Willow just shakes her head, will walk towards the barrel where Dee Dee is. Let's see if we can find a different place for a drink. Because she's done with Aang and Maddie. If they kill each other, they kill each other at this point.
Are you going to... So, did Paige, you said you were trying to distract Hawk so she didn't look?
Yeah. Because she's
Okay.
like, one thing at a time. Because Paige has a game plan.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, I hope you don't mind me taking liberty with this, Joe.
Okay.
Of just like, okay, well, your memory just got wiped a bit. That fucking sucks. Let me help you recover from that. I have a 3-step process. First of all, we gotta go eat something. You need to sit down and eat something. It's gonna help you, I swear. Don't ask why I know this.
Hawk, it's your... that's what you,
that's the above table game plan. Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, just essentially just like, that's what Paige is going to do. Essentially just like, okay, because she knows that's the same fucking look of memory wiping, confusion, amnesia, sudden memory loss. So she's like, okay, it probably feels like you woke up from a nap that lasted years and you're so disoriented a little bit. I'm going to help you recover from that. And we're going to do this slowly. One revelation at a time. We will bring up Dee Dee later. But, yeah, that's the above table game plan.
Okay.
Of what I want Paige to do with Hawk.
Gotcha. So Paige, you go with Hawk. And Willow, you're going to stay with Dee Dee?
Yeah, because the other two fucked off and she's not catching up to them. So she's babysitting Dee Dee.
Okay. Pierre will stick with you because he does not want anyone to be alone with Dee Dee for fear of
getting
that
Dee-Dee'd.
Just but Hawk will go with you, Paige, and we'll resolve this first. The Hawk memory stuff, or attempt to resolve it.
Okay, well, imagine after they run off and Hawk has the book.
She's looking at it like very distantly, but she dog ears a page and snaps it shut. But she'll follow you.
Okay. Paige is going to lead her past the ghost of Angharad. I guess to food. Where food? Okay. Probably just, very gentle hug. She can't actually maneuver Hawk in the fucking slightest. Just, little like, okay, this way. Going over and picking a table to sit down. Presumably just getting food. Ordering food. Also a lot of water.
Okay. Yeah, the tavern keeper who is deathly afraid of you Not you specifically, but definitely
The
afraid of
group.
just everyone
Yeah.
of the group, everyone who's involved.
Mm-hmm.
He will leave a basket of bread and some flagons of water and flagons of ale. And Electra, you can see, is the only other person in the building aside from the person who is the tavern keeper / owner of this place, who basically just drops off drinks and leaves
Lost on a bottle of whiskey.
or hides. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Hawk will kind of grab a bread and just be like, something happened.
Yes. But you need to drink some water first.
She does.
Red, do you have a headache?
She rubs the side of her head and she starts to say, like, shake her head no for a second, and then she just goes, yes.
Okay, it's okay. We're going to just sit, and soon the presence of water is going to help with that.
She looks at you for a second, Paige, and she looks really worried. Can you fix it? Bring my memory back?
Paige just looks at her, and her eyes kind of shift, kind of just over Hawk's shoulder. Just like 2 seconds of like a little 1,000-yard stare. Maybe like a 200-yard stare. As she kind of focuses back on Hawk. And she gives a very wistful smile. That's a little sad. She shakes her head no. None, I don't think that is possible.
Hawk just, her eye kind of looks you up and down for a second and nods. Her expression, her demeanor doesn't really change. She was kind of expecting a no. What did you want to ask her, Paige? Or what did you want to try, rather? If anything.
Probably trying to determine exactly what she's missing.
Okay. So, if you roll me a, let's say, a diplomacy check,
Mm-hmm.
and an occultism check, or not an occultism, just diplomacy check and, I'd say a medicine check.
Okay. Diplomacy first.
Yes.
That's going to be a 26.
26.
Wait, that's a. Wait, I'm mathing wrong.
Oh no.
Wait, I think I'm mathing right. What's 18 plus 9?
27.
27. Okay, it's close.
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 Yeah, 27.
And you said a medicine?
Yes.
It's gonna be a 19.
19 for medicine.
Mm-hmm.
So with your 27 on diplomacy, you're absolutely able to get her to talk over not everything, but you're able to get her to talk over what she remembers of the fight, what she remembers of before being here. Like, she talks about being in the woods, or on the road near the woods, like on the edge of the woods. She remembers leaving Termarked. She remembers hiking. She remembers being here for a few days and waiting for you guys. She remembers all of that. She even remembers talking to Electra like 30 seconds before everything snapped off. You're able to really suss out that from what Hawk is talking about and what she is like, the parts of her memory that are missing, it seems like her memory is completely intact aside from holes where Angharad would be, and any words or actions or anything that Aang did, like up until even a little bit after that flash, are just gone. It's like Hawk, you could imagine like if Hawk had a full conversation with Aang, imagine having that entire conversation split down the middle and you only remember your half. And you remember an entire conversation. You remember the whole conversation and like why you went to the next subject and everything, but you can't like, there's no one, you're not talking to anyone. You're not getting responses. It's like laughing at a joke that nobody told.
Oof.
With a 19 on your medicine check, however, you're not able to determine like the more physical ramifications of what this could mean.
What about her physically?
Physically?
Like, her hair's different. You know.
Yeah, go ahead and roll me another
Yeah.
medicine check. Separate from her mind, her body is a separate thing.
That's going to be a 13.
With the 13, just looking her over, she looks healthy. She's got color in her hair. She's different, but she's still got the bad cough. So she's different in some way, but it's very difficult to put a finger on exactly how she is different.
Mm-hmm. Is the cough still as bad?
Yes.
Okay.
At least from your assessment, yes, it seems to be the same degree of progressed TB.
Okay. Okay. Imagine, I don't know. I feel like the next step is just like more food once the headache is gone.
Mm-hmm.
While they're talking, just okay, get something more filling than just some bread and water. While they're talking, and Paige paying very close attention to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And she just listens very closely. You know, asks questions when appropriate, makes the sounds. But I think after Paige does her assessment, she probably for the first time takes like a sip of her own glass of water.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of nibbles on her own piece of bread. And she asks, I guess she can't really ask. Or she could have, actually. It's a weird situation of what she does and doesn't remember. But Paige is going to ask Hawk. So, do you remember why you did not tell Maddie?
A roll a diplomacy check. This is gonna be hard to get out of her.
Okay, here we fucking go. For the love of God. It's going to be a 21?
She looks at you and...
Oh, wait. That's not a 21, that's a 23. I can't fucking
23.
math. 14 plus
23.
9.
Gotcha. With a 23, she looks you over, and she, over the course of like 5 seconds, makes a few different expressions, and kind of gets you see the wind up of a sentence or a thought on her lips. Every single one of them dies, and she just, after another few seconds of pausing, she just kind of presses her lips real firm, and then just doesn't. She just shakes her head, as if to like your original question, to say like, no, I don't remember.
How full of shit is she?
Roll a perception check.
Where the... Okay, I gotta remember perceptions. Where the
Oops.
Okay, it's all the way on the left. Okay.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a... My brain is so fucking shot today. Jesus. 19. 11 plus 8 is 19.
She's lying.
Pretty sure. Okay. She's lying? She's full of shit?
She's super full of shit.
Okay. Paige just looks... kind of nods. Takes another sip of water. You know, oh, you don't have to tell me. But if you don't remember it, then that's even worse. So, do you remember? Why?
Oh, pause.
Pausing.
Is it the warmy hour?
I think the prolonged silence says yes.
Okay. Close, but not yet. I'm back, by the way. So, you say you don't have to tell me, and what was it you said after that, Amy?
Essentially, you don't have to tell me, but if you don't remember why, that's even worse. So, do you remember why? You don't have to tell me it, but do you remember?
Roll another diplomacy check.
Oh boy.
This will be
Come on.
easier.
It's gonna be a... Wow. I might switch to the fucking sheet, because I don't know why I can't do fucking math. What's 9 plus 18? 9 plus 9, 18. Jesus fuck. I'm switching over to my physical sheet.
With an 18, she stares into her drink, and she looks at you, and stares into her drink, and she doesn't. That's the only response you get from her.
Just staying in her drink?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Paige already knows the answer. That's fine. I don't know what else Paige would do here. She doesn't really know Hawk. But she knows this situation. So I feel like Paige's goal here is more based around, hey, let me just help this person recover from this and keep them calm and make sure they don't panic. And by the time the group is ready to reconvene, hopefully Maddie and Aang haven't killed each other. And Hawk is going to be ready to accept more information once she's had time to settle with this memory loss.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she'd probably open the floor up to Hawk if she wants to talk about, I don't know, be an ear if she chooses to talk about, like, memory loss fucking sucks. What the fuck is this? I don't know.
I have bad news. Hawk is the strong silent type.
That's fine. They can just sit there.
It is nothing against Paige. Hawk would do this with just about anyone.
I'm telling you, Paige takes zero offense.
She takes it in stride, and this is good.
She's perfectly content with just sitting here in silence.
Okay.
Letting her brain heal.
Hawk, oddly enough, Hawk does appreciate the quiet. Like, it is. She does not feel like pressure to talk from Paige. From that, like, the acceptance of being quiet from a person who is normally very social, and that just it has a like an energy about it, and she really is really receptive to that. In the same way that being quiet with someone who doesn't know what to say has a sort of healing effect. You, Paige, can kind of get that vibe from Hawk. Like, a lot happened, and a lot more is going to happen, and she just doesn't understand it. And she got here, wondered where y'all were, and then a bunch of stuff happened, and now she's just like, she's kind of throwing her hands up and not really sure what to do or how she can help, or if she's able to help, if she is not just in this moment burdensome.
Yeah. Rachel just be there as just a presence to sit with her as her brain just slowly recalibrates and processes what the fuck just happened and processes the fact that there's probably no reversing it.
Okay. Meanwhile, in the amount of time that has passed outside, Pierre, Willow, and Dee Dee.
I'm gonna take you way into left field, so you may not want to go to me next.
Well, I figure that, like, how left field are you thinking?
Willow would have left with the intention of, like, okay, let's find another drink. Realizes that this is a town where there's not really another place to drink. So she's gonna go be nosy at the church.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's pretty left field.
That is interesting. You know, I appreciate that because I can work with that. We will go to you last because that is important, and I need a little bit of extra time to brainstorm for that. But that's good. That's good. So we'll shift all the way back to Maddie. You are running. How far are you running, Maddie? Like, let's go to Deep Field. Assuming you're, somewhere in and around this center area.
zoom out.
So like way out to the edge of the woods up here.
Okay. Which, yeah, she'd be heading to the closest, but like, she would try to avoid people, I think, to some extent. So,
well,
she's gonna do the flashiest thing to do that.
You're going to run by at least a handful of people who yelp and scream and get out of the way.
Oh, they won't need to get out of the way.
She's
gonna hop from roof to roof if she can.
Yeah, the houses here are low, so you are more than able to like sprint, clamber on top of a low-rise building, and then clamber on top of the next level, and then just jump from roof to roof, using your longer legs and increased height to just launch yourself. And there are people who are like the startled crowds of like, oh no, oh goodness, oh no, but you're running away. People start to like shout, but you're easily able to jump and get all the way out to this edge of the woodland area where the trees start to reappear.
Yeah, she'll head to the forest, not going super deep or anything. Like, probably still hear the town, at least to some extent, you know, but not. So it's not like she's gonna get lost or something, but away from where people would be. That's her main goal.
Yeah.
She's very upset. She's having a hard time controlling it, but she doesn't want to hurt anyone.
So you run out to basically to the edge of the wood.
Don't know.
And motherfucker, bah, I had this scene. Why is this the default? Why, Chepeku? Anyway, as I was saying, you run out to the edge of the wood. Not so far into the woods and it's so far out of town that you are like gone.
Yeah.
But there's no one out here. You're kind of on the furthest part, where the liminality of the farmland and the village and the woodland is max, and you're not in either location. You are just in peak liminal green nature area.
Does there happen to be a tree stump nearby or a fallen tree?
Yeah, I'd say so like in the actual deep field scene, you'll be like still kind of on farmland. So as you're just kind of getting way out there and getting far enough away, just looking around really quickly, you can see that there's a wood chopping stump like off to the side where presumably some farmer would go out there and chop a whole bunch of fucking firewood.
Is there any firewood nearby that has yet to be chopped?
Oh yeah, there's a couple of lumbered logs.
Cool. Maddie needs a scratching post.
That's not what I thought you were gonna do, but okay.
She needs to let off some steam.
Yeah, totally fair. You if you want to roll attack and damage to actually damage the wood, you are welcome to use your enhanced were creature stats to shred wood logs.
Sweet. Where is my sheet? Here's my sheet. Hey, Mez.
I heard the little peep.
She is very loud right now.
I heard the peep again.
I heard it.
You okay?
Little baby peep. Little peeper.
Tiny kitten. You need to take a picture of when she is standing up at some point so we can see how much she's grown.
Okay.
Yes.
I also demand a picture of Cat either mid-yell or mid-yawn so that we get the disgruntled gremlin face of Cat.
We can make it an emote.
We can.
Miss Scrim.
Did I show you guys the picture I got of Cream, like peak gremlin face? Because it's really good.
No, I don't
I
think
do
so.
not remember this.
I gotta find that picture then. Anyway, Maddie, you're destroying some wood.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really low roll. Damn.
Sorry, hold on. A 12. Luckily, wood is incredibly easy to hit, given that it is both stationary and you are using claws that could rip apart like metal armor if you put your back into it. A 12 hits.
Imagine the wood
Crazy.
dodges.
What the fuck is that? We have another problem here.
See, no,
Maddie
no.
attacks the wood.
If she failed, then I would demand a moment where she smacks it, hits it, does break it, but it comes up and smacks her in the face instead.
Tom and Jerry style.
That'd be good.
But yeah, she's trying to let off some steam by just cutting, like just ripping apart this wood here, this bit. And like she wants it to help, but it's not really helping. She's just so angry and frustrated and sad, hurt, betrayed, confused. It's just a big ball of emotions that it's really hard to process. But luckily she didn't go full on transform, just a lot more furry than normal.
Mm-hmm. It is, in contrast to the other times in your life where you've had like a bad anxiety attack and followed by like, I don't want to call it a tantrum, but it's kind of a tantrum, but I say that in a positive sense. In contrast to the other times where you've like had to vent your frustration, and it's, you know that feeling when you vent and you like punch the shit out of your pillow and you hurt your hand because you accidentally punched a little bit into your mattress and you're like, fuck, my mattress is like really thick. Maddie, you have enhanced claws and enhanced strength, so like it's really satisfying. This wood does not stand a chance. But that, yeah, the satisfaction is gone almost as quickly as it came on. It is just like a just sudden breeze that just passes you by, and now it's just like pointless. You just destroy the wood for the sake of being like, why am I not feeling better? Just shearing it and ripping it and pulling it apart and stabbing your claws into it, and they get stuck a little bit, but you put your foot on it and yank them out. You can't tell if you're getting slivers. You're just kind of just tingly all over your hands and a little bit in like the sinus part of your snout. And you're just like just upset, just unbridled upsettedness. And after a good 30 seconds of ripping wood to pieces, Aang, you would be able to catch up. You weren't so far away that you were in danger. Don't worry.
Oh,
But-
I didn't randomly start puking over the side of a rooftop.
No. But by the time you are within like you can see Maddie from the distance because it's basically flat land. But the pile of wood that was choppable lumber has now been reduced to more kindling by the time you get there, by the time you're within like a stone's throw.
Joe, for fluff reasons, can I have, as Aang is running and catching up with Maddie, and seeing Maddie a little bestial herself, is it all right if Aang's limbs are just a little too long at present?
Sure.
So
You can tap into that fey woodland part of yourself pretty readily.
So Aang approaches very, very softly behind Maddie, but then has a moment of clarity and realizes, wait a second, I probably shouldn't be surprising her. And so allows some of the leaves to crunch beneath her hooves and her hands as she is still walking on all fours, mirroring what she has seen. And as she spots Maddie now standing, she too also stands, her limbs just slightly too long, as if she's been stretched out a tiny bit. She holds her hands together, thinks for a second, and then calls out, "Madigan, dear heart, why such anger? Why such fear? Today is a day most joyous, and yet thou art acting as if I had presented thee burnt birthday coconuts."
Maddie was full on. She heard Angharad. She heard the crunching of leaves, and like her heightened senses, she could kind of tell she was coming closer, but she was just like, please, no. And she was getting ready to like just rage at her essentially. But hearing Angharad's words, she turns just like stunned and is like, what the? Has a look of pure surprise. How did you... Why are you here? You're... Why are you still here?
Because I love thee and am concerned for thee. Because, well, I thought that this would bring thee joy. And because thou seemed to be in a great deal of trouble. What sort of family would I be if I left you on your own?
Maddie kind of, a unintentional growl kind of rumbles through her chest. And she glares a bit at Angharad. Family? You're calling yourself family? You both lied to me.
There's a wince on Angharad's face, and she doesn't protest, but she instead nods. I wish that it could have been otherwise. But when we met, I knew that Alexandria had not told thee about me. And it would have contradicted my nature to have broken that compact. And so I did not. But, Madigan, whatever thou wishest to know, I can tell thee now. 'Tis part of the joy of the day.
What does you not telling me any of this have to do with your nature? How do you even know, Alex?
Aang takes a moment to consider, looks up. I shall tell thee the story, if thou will hear it. But 'tis a fanciful one.
She gives Ingrid a look of, like, she sits down on her hind legs, kind of in a on her haunches, is that the word? And she still looks pretty upset, but she's trying to not let everything get to her. She doesn't need to go into a rage again. And maybe, who knows, maybe what Ingrid has to say will help. That's kind of what she's hoping.
After a moment of quiet and Maddie sitting on her haunches, Aang also just strides quietly over, not taking the stride action. Well, I guess she has to, but she's moving half her speed, so she doesn't provoke attacks of opportunity. She also sits down on her haunches next to Maddie, leaving enough space between them that it's not too intense, but she does want to have Maddie know that she's not alone at present.
See, the involuntary growl kind of comes up again if she gets too close, but if they're in when kids sit in a ring of circle kind of thing, they're close enough they can talk
on their haunches.
Yes.
Alone in the woods. This just looks so bizarre to anybody else, I imagine. Like, you walk by this and you're like, is fucking Noodle Arms over there hanging out with some kind of weird fox thing? Like,
listen, I'm gonna be real with you. There is no one who is walking within 100 yards of this.
Ingrid draws a breath. I met Alexandria on a night 20... Pauses for a second, thinks. Yes, 26 years ago. It was Christmas. She was alone, having had to remain in the city to tend to something, and she'd had a few drinks at a tavern nearby, where they had needled her on the subject of her upcoming birthday. And it did not sit well with her. Something about it struck at a deep ache within her spirit, like a needle driven through bone straight to marrow. Into the woods she went, where she was accosted by creatures who she found herself a trifle too slow to stop. And she knew that from that point she would only be getting slower. Wounded as she was, alone as she was, she kneeled down at the base of a tree to tend to her wound, to stitch it closed with her own hands. And as she did this, the bell at the nearby cathedral began to toll the hour, 12 times it rang. 'Twas Christmas. Her birthday. She looked up to the moon, and at that moment, she wished for something. With the entirety of her heart, she wished for it. All of her being, all of her years were concentrated on this singular thing. She wished that she could be hale and hearty for the rest of her days, that she could watch over those who needed her, that she could remain herself as long as she possibly could, eternally. It was at that moment that I was created. I am that very wish. And so you see, that is why I have done what I have done the day. 'Tis what I was always meant to do, only I did not know how at the start of things.
Wait. So, how are you're a wish?
That is the best word to describe the Sangharat. Yes, a wish. I spoke to her that night. She was so beautiful and so terribly lonely. I asked her if she would have my company forever. And she accepted, gave me this name. And so it is.
Maddie is thinking and trying to wrap her head around what Ingrid has said thus far. Like, she's heard of all the different beasts and monsters and legends and all the stuff that, she's encountered and has heard stories of. But a wish is kind of out there even for her. But and you can kind of see that her trying to process that a bit. And then she kind of moves on to Ingrid's other words, and she tilts her head a bit. How long were you two together? Why? How did I never know about you?
If I were to reckon it, well, for a single turn of the seasons, she was at my side nearly all the time, though, as you well know, she has a tendency to disappear for days on end. But it never troubled me, for I knew she would always return, and always with some new bounty or gift or a wondrous thing from the cities to show me. Yes, for about a year, it was beautiful. And then it began to change. And so it was only another year. But within that year there lay many eternities, Madigan. And as for why she did not tell thee, I I have wondered the same. Many a day, many a year, and when first I spoke with thee and had no idea who I was, what an arrow 'twas in my heart. But a surprise I cannot say 'twas, for Alexandria was always very protective of me. I doubt there was anyone who knew of me.
Protective. She repeats, thinking a bit. Trying to think of anything, any way she could have known, but nothing really comes to mind right off the top of her head. um, why did she react the way she did when she saw you again? I thought you two were close.
Oh, very close. As close as any two could be. I wish that I could have known thee then, Madigan, that the three of us could have, within the walls of that cabin, dwelled together, that you could have seen how beautiful she could be in the light, how carefree and joyous. But Alexandria, she turns toward and looks toward the trees around them and then gestures to one of them. There is a sort of rot, Madigan, that can affect a great deal of things. Trees primarily, among them. It starts at the roots and digs into the core, into the very heart of even the proudest, most stalwart oak. And upward it climbs and grows and grows. From the day that I met Alexandria, there was already some of the rot at her roots, and I thought that, being what I was, that granting to her an eternity would stymie the flow, that we could find some solution that would again bring joy to her heart, that would wipe away some of the horrors that she had seen. But as I said, she seems to struggle and swallows a little bit as she's trying to find the words to continue. When we made our compact, I promised to her an eternity. And she thought that youth was an inherent part of that. Now, as thou hast seen, youth I can grant, but I knew not then how to do it. And one morning she awoke, and she found within that head of fire a grey hair. And in a fury she emerged, waving it at me, demanding what it meant, telling me that I had lied to her, that I had deceived her, that I was cruel to have inflicted this upon her, that she was a fool for trusting me. And I told her I knew not what it meant, that I had not told any lies at all, that we had all of eternity stretching out before us, but Alexandria did not see it that way. The rot had grown, and day after day it only grew more and more. Again and again she would question if I had lied to her. And again I would tell her I had no idea what she had meant. And things grew difficult and dark. And there came a day when she asked me to leave, and I told her there was nothing that would be further from my heart than leaving her, that I would as soon tear myself asunder. But there was this look in her eyes, and I knew, for I have always known her so well, that it was a harmful look, that I needed to leave. And so I gathered what gifts she had given to me, this armor, the scythe I had used for our fields, the books that remained, and I departed. And I thought that time would perhaps soften her heart.
But it didn't.
No, there were times, many a time I would find her in the woods, and I would run to her as I always did, and I would beseech her to speak, to once more spend time together, to figure out some way that we might navigate whatever this was together. And there were some days where she did speak with me for a while, but there were many more where she would, well, when she would attempt to strike me, or when she would fall into my lap weeping. Many times.
So she cast you away and tried to kill you because of the gray hair.
Because of her fear, Madigan. Thou canst not fully blame her for her actions when she is terrified of this, when
And
it is...
Jared, did you tell her that you didn't know what you...
And what was I to do? To abandon her? To leave her behind, even wrathful as she may be?
Did you tell her?
I did. Yes, I did.
And she knows you can't lie?
She would have a great deal of fun with it at times, when she was telling her jokes.
Maddie feels a certain thing within her. And seeing Ingrid talk and whatnot, she goes up and hugs her.
Aang is surprised for a moment, but then as Maddie hugs her, she wraps her slightly too long limbs around Maddie and starts, rubbing up and down Maddie's back in a soothing gesture. There, Madigan. I know thou must be powerfully surprised, but I shall not leave thee. Never shall I leave thee. Thou art family, and though there have been many a shock this day, it's a bright, beautiful day all the same. A fresh new beginning. And finally, we can, the three of us, really be a family. Together.
Don't deserve that. He didn't deserve that to be. Kind of hugs her a bit tighter.
There's a pause, and then Angharad squeezes back. Madigan, who can say what a creature deserves or does not? For a creature such as I, suffering was always meant to be. But it needn't be in the future.
But she's not the same person.
How can that be? Tell me, Madigan, wouldst thou use any word other than stubborn to describe Alexandria? All that is changed is her appearance and her memories of this Angharad.
If she doesn't remember you, then what's the relationship built on? What's the point?
Well, she does not remember me now, but I can reintroduce myself, and we can meet anew, begin again. The point is to fulfill that wish and to find our own happiness. If every year it will be like this, every year I must consume these memories to grant her youth, then so be it. 'Tis a price I shall happily pay.
He leans back and looks Angharad in the eye. Every year?
Yes, it must be done every year. Otherwise, the aging will begin to accelerate.
So you're going to make her forget you every year? And what, just start again?
Angharad just seems a little confused by the tone of Maddie's voice and doesn't understand what the problem seems to be, and nods. Yes, so long as she still maintains her wish for youth, yes.
What if she doesn't?
There's even more confusion on Aang's face. Then I don't think that shall be happening anytime soon, but were it to occur, then happily I would stay at her side all the same. She pauses for a second, looks up at Madigan. I did say eternity, Madigan, and so it shall be. Neither of us may perish.
As long as she keeps forgetting.
No, even if she remembered, even if she were to continue about the rest of her days apart from me, neither of us would.
Maddie, there's a bit of that anger from earlier kind of rising up again. And she, over the course of the conversation, like her transformation has slowly melted till she's more normal again. And she feels that annoyance, that frustration bubble up, but she puts her hand to her neck and pushes in on the necklace once again, like she does as a ritual. So you couldn't even tell me that earlier. Both are going to live forever.
There's a long silence as Aang tries to think of something to say. And then just... I should have found some way to tell thee sooner, Madigan. But I did not want to contradict what you had or had not already been told. Why she told you not, I know not. But please forgive the Sangharat. I'm only beginning to understand now that I should have told thee.
I mean, usually you're truthful with the people you trust.
And I do trust thee.
Yeah, now that doesn't matter.
It matters. What canst thou mean by such a thing? That it does not matter. So long as the three of us are still here, it matters.
Maddie is frustrated again, but she's kind of pushes those thoughts aside. She doesn't want to. She feels like it might be a bit of a circle of conversation on that topic, just a little bit. So she kind of moves back to an earlier point. She thought something that's kind of sticking with her. And you know people change, right?
There's a pause, and then I have been told such things.
Have you considered that maybe Hawk changed? That she didn't want eternal youth?
There's another pause. No, I had not considered that. But I would not have acted the way I did if I were not certain that it was what she wanted.
Can you be so sure?
Madigan, how can thou be sure of thy heartbeat? 'Tis the same. I can feel certain things. wishes.
She looks very confused at that comment.
She pauses for a second and then, it is my nature.
If it's your nature, so what? You are a fae, right?
Yes, a creature born of the woods.
What? I'm gonna roll for this actually. What is your tie to the Fae Queen, and why was she so upset with you?
When Alexandria cast me from our little Eden, I wandered for a time and found myself a second home, one which ended badly for me. Mother found me after this and took me to the kingdom, to the court, where she taught me of my nature. I was happy there, as happy as I could be without Alexandria, but we did not see eye to eye on that particular matter. She thought that she should have precedence in my heart over Alexandria.
After how you were treated, I can see why. She kind of looks to the side of it.
Aang will walk over and hug Maddie again. Madigan, 'tis a thing most complex, but please, know this, I would show thee the same consideration. I shall no more abandon thee than I could abandon Alexandria. Alone to wrestle with darkness and hatred and bitter loneliness, I could never fathom that. I shall always be thy Angharad.
You know that darkness comes for all of us, right?
Yes, but why should we face it alone?
Maddie doesn't have much to say on that. She's not sure what to say. It's a bit long, but she kind of continues and says, I don't think it's fair to you, though. This whole situation, it's not right.
Rightness hardly enters into the matter, Madigan. 'Tis my cross to bear, and I bear it gladly. If it means glee for thee and comfort for the family, then yes, I do not mind. 'Tis what I was meant to do. But
And who gave you this cross?
there is a pause. We cannot help the manner in which we are born, can we?
No, but we can do better. We can grow from it. Are you just... Sorry.
No, go on.
You don't have to just accept it. I sure as hell didn't, and you don't either.
There's another pause, and then I don't have to, but I do accept it, and that is something that means a great deal to me, Madigan. Please, today is the beginning of a new era for the three of us. We needn't mire ourselves in the torments of the past. They're cast aside, wiped away, a blank slate upon which we might write a new story. There's no need for the past to have sway. Not in that way. And that is why today should have been a joyous day. Why I thought it would gladden thy heart.
Maddie she looks a bit angry, but not in the similar way earlier. More it's just frustration and sadness, and a little bit defeated. She doesn't think she's gonna get rid of Angharad.
Was that she doesn't think she's going to get rid of Angharad?
Get through to Angharad.
Oh.
Yeah. Have you, in your time away, have you done anything for yourself since you last saw Hawk?
Since I last saw Alexandria? No, I cannot say that I have.
And can you promise me something?
Anything, Madigan. Anything at all.
Can you try to find something for yourself? Something that you can enjoy that doesn't involve Alex. Has nothing to do with her. Just you.
There's another pause, and Aang is very clearly surprised by this and is trying to put the pieces together as much as Maddie had been trying to put the pieces together earlier. This is an extremely new concept to her. Is that so important to thee?
Nod.
Another pause. Then, yes, I shall. I shall try to find something that gladdens my heart without... Yes, I shall try. She nods and pauses again, and then, much more quietly, kind of sheepishly, I do like to sing.
I have noticed that. Are there any particular songs you like?
If I may?
Maddie gives a smile of trying to get back to normalcy. It's a little half-hearted, but she's trying, and she puts her hand out as in a go ahead kind of motion as she settles down a bit and sits more comfortably.
Aang scoots slightly closer, and in this extremely abandoned wood, she starts to sing for a little while.
Okay. As you have that little moment of trying to connect through this messy, like abusive, now not destroyed past, but fractured past. You both just there's just a long pan out from the scene showing the open part of the farmland and the woods, and then the farmer who is watching from a distance, who can hear no exchange of words but is concerned. You both can stay there for as long as you feel. But I will give both of you a hero point because you did good. And I will also give you, Paige, a hero point for helping Hawk. I should have given you that earlier.
Oh shit!
Z.
What? Oh shit! Let's go.
Are you
Are you okay?
Are you okay?
Man,
Z. Z the ping.
I'm just watching this voice connected go from red to green to yellow to green to yellow to bread. It never stays on one color
Aw.
for more than like 10, 15. There it goes again. And I'm back.
Aw.
See, what happened to your voice connecting? Like, what
You-
happened to your internet?
I always thought you had the most reliable internet out of all of us.
That apparently not anymore. Y'all's assumption has cursed me. Yep, then it just cycled again. Really low, really high.
It's going fine. You're good. You're good. In the time where Maddie and Aang are reconciling the different experiences they've had with Hawk. One good, one blurst. The the unlikely trio of Pierre, Willow, and Dee Dee set off to the church because Dee Dee has no sway and pull in any direction. She is a follower. And Pierre is also a follower. But you are all going to, and I don't have a scene for this, which sucks. just going to go back here. Boop. So you will go to the church towards the southern part of town.
I imagine there was an initial question though.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
First, she literally is like, "Let's go find a drink." Like, gets like half a block away. It's like, "Oh yeah, there's not going to be another place to drink." And then we'll look at Dee Dee and be like, "You're not going to just burst on fire by walking into a church or anything, are you?"
Not good with what? Easy.
She's not going to burst on fire.
Oh. Dee Dee blinks and then looks towards the church and just shrugs and just goes, "Well, I haven't been into a lot of churches, so I don't know the degree to which holiness can affect me, but I think I should be fine." Pierre just shrugs, like, "I think that means she's not allergic to divinity in the same way that a vampire would be, I suppose."
Well, here's hoping then.
So you all walk to the church. There is no service on this day because I believe it's Saturday. Perfect. So the church is open. And as you walk in, you can see that it is an O&R controlled church. There's no posted guards. Like the disparity between the church district in Termarkt and how the cathedral is so imposing and massive, and has rooms upon rooms and floors upon floors of holy space. I mean, this church looks positively pithy by comparison. And while there are no guards, it is like a refreshing absence. But walking in, the familiar Spartan design of the O&R is seen. The church scrubbed clean of most iconography, being stripped down to there's no frescoes or anything in here, whereas or artwork or anything. It is humble in a way. But the O&R for all of the beauty and design there is in the cathedral at Termarkt, and all of the artwork and lovely Victorian or not Victorian, it's ancient Roman-esque style, walls and ceilings and the artwork. There is a pointed lack of direct representation of divinity. The O&R scrubs clean angels, demons, devils, heaven. They will let things that are ambiguous stay. So a garden can stay. A beautiful landscape can stay. But direct depictions of anything overtly divine are censored. And it is much the same here. There is a level of decor and niceness to the church. But the stained glass windows have been redesigned. Some of them replaced with normal windows, some of them restained and reshaped such that it depicts a landscape, a simple landscape, but a landscape. And on this day in particular, the local speaker does not seem to be here, contrary to most standard churches, but there is someone in the pew, or at least in a pew. Do I have a token for them ready? Yes, I do. So you walk in and you see someone who looks, they have dark, medium length hair, and even from where you're standing, as you walk in, you can see that there are slight points, which from the back you might think were horns, but you realize are pointed ears. Their skin has a gray textured, or a gray stony color to it. And Rolo, sorry. Trying to narrate. There it is. There we go. And this is the person you see. A very overtly vampiric looking person to your eye, Willow. And when the door opens, they don't immediately turn their head to look, but as you walk towards where the pulpit would be, they would turn towards you and just give you a slight curious tilt of the head, because they don't recognize you. Can I help you? They stand up.
Every time you pause for me to talk is when my voice immediately goes to red.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So Willow just kind of takes in everything, just walking very calmly, hands behind her back, and will kind of move almost all the way to the front of the room before she turns to look at this person, and is head tilted, considering them. Oh, we were passing through and heard that there was a recent change in ownership of this church. Just coming to see what's what.
She looks, or they look a little. They kind of grimace, and they nod their head. That is true. You are not from around here, are you? I do not recognize you, nor your company.
Willow just smiles slowly, nods. Sir, not from around here at all, I'm afraid. And will step down to the end of whatever pew that they were sitting at, and will extend a hand in their direction for them to shake. Willow Delaunay, Tamoct.
They look at your hand and they look at you and kind of gauge you hesitantly, but they take your hand and they will shake. Their skin is cold and their nails are quite long, more protruding and pointed than Vincent. But they give you a very level stare, and you can see the bags under their eyes. They are dressed somewhat formally, but they have you can see very clearly being up close to them. You can very easily tell, like, they're wearing leather armor, and on their hip they have what looks to be a blade of some kind, like a saber, and excuse me. And on the other side of their hip, they have a type of firearm and a dagger. They are well equipped. That in Terramark, this person would not be out of place if you were to cast them as a hunter. But they shake your hand and they say, I am Madeline, but they call me Gloom here.
Is that your preferred name, or just what they call you?
She shrugs. It is both. It just took a little bit of time for me to accept Gloom. But it's grown on me.
And Willow nods and will kind of take a step back and motion towards the others. And this would be Dee Dee and Pierre, also from Termart.
Dee Dee wiggles her fingers, and she is holding her hands kind of like crisscrossed in front of her, fingers interlaced. Very sweet and unassuming, of course. And Pierre awkwardly puts up a hand like, hello. It's a pleasure to meet you. And Dee Dee, just charmed. I'm sure you are. And Gloom just looks at them both. You, with a passive perception of 18, you can see this, because Gloom is not trying to hide it, but you can see the twitch of their nose, like they smell something. And they look around, they look left and right, and then towards the door, and then at Dee Dee, and then at you. You have not been in town long, I take it.
No, we just got in earlier today. I'm sure you'll be hearing all about it here shortly. But the reason why I decided to go ahead and come here before anything could, well, small towns and gossip and all that.
They blink, and just there's a moment of realization, and they say, "Are you causing trouble in my town?"
Me? No. My compatriots, unfortunately, yes. Nobody was hurt.
Gloom just looks at Pierre, and Pierre, like Gloom looks at the two who are standing right beside you, and then Pierre's like, not we, not us. Our tube is bigger than just the three of us here."
Oh, yes, there was...
They look out towards the door.
Oh, we came in with 4 others. I believe Hawk has been here for a day or 2 already. You may have already run into them.
They turn to you and kind of like looking out of the corner of their eye, raising their eyebrow. You know Hawk, the hunter, the famous one.
Willow nods. Yes, we were accompanying a group of hunters through the forest.
She looks you up and down and gives you a nod. What business do you have in this small town of mine? Not many people have business in Daggerfield, or Deepfield.
Well, group business is, well, in deference to our hunter friends, it is their business to talk about if they will choose to or not. But a meeting place for them, at the very least. Should I have the opportunity? Well, I am from the Delaunays, so setting up possible trade would be my business here.
Gloom kind of narrows her eyes, and then, like, she's already given you a once over, but she kind of tilts her head and goes, "If you're looking to set up trade, why have you come here to the church? It'd make more sense to find yourself in the market, would it not?
Willow just smiles. Oh, yes, but like I said, curiosity. My brother is a part of. What is the actual name for ONR?
The Order of the Newly Risen.
My brother is loosely affiliated with the Order of the Newly Arisen. However, I have never seen quite eye to eye with it all the time. Was intrigued by the thought that this place might be outside of that, but here I am, and here they are. And you seem to have an opinion about it.
That you say that, and you catch them grimacing towards the pulpit again. And they just cross their arms, and they're wearing like a kind of half capelet sort of shawl thing with a collar. So you can't see where their hands are, but you can tell that they have crossed their arms. And as they do, they just go, "And what if I do?" Not many people care to ask the opinion of one such as me. I'm used to gathering a lot of ire from people.
And there's a little smile from Willow. And she kind of looks at Pierre and Dee Dee and then back at Gloom. And I think my friends here can attest that I am not your usual person when it comes to people outside the norm.
Dee Dee fake whispers and it goes, "She's one of the eccentric ones. You can trust her." And gives like a silent thumbs up. Gloom just raises an eyebrow and looks at you again. "Well, if you are an eccentric one, Miss Delaunay, I would be happy to talk to you about trade opportunities. But what use do you have for my opinions about the ONR?"
And Willow just kind of the pleasant smile has not changed in the slightest. Just tilts her head. Well, the same reason I came here in the first place, curiosity. Perhaps I should have fully introduced with my title. I'm a clockworker by trade. How things work and why are, well, the entire reason I do anything.
She rubs her chin. You are an eccentric one.
I'll take that as a compliment.
She gives you a smirk. To answer your question, she turns and gestures towards the pulpit with a hand and just goes, "The ONR came in and did what they always do with religious sites. They cleaned it." And they gesture all like just kind of a whoop-de-doo kind of circular hand gesture. And just goes, "This place was very beautiful a few years ago, even when it was a little beat up. It took a lot of doing to make it look the way it did. And the ONR came in and undid all of our hard work. The people here, they used to be of an old faith. And I think that word may have gotten back to Termar, where the ONR lives. And if you know anything about the ONR with your brother somewhere inside it," she is kind of testing the water. Says, "You are very much aware that they don't abide by such things. Their sermons are vapid and empty. They are stories and psalms and lessons that we learn as children, retold in different ways. It is nonsense. Takes all the reverie out of what was once a beautiful thing. And it replaces it with, he gestures again, kind of with the whoop-de-doo gesture, places it with hollow and empty promises, platitudes to keep you warm at night. That is why I do not like the Oana. They took what was precious to the people of my town. There is not much going for this little place. The only thing that we have here is the safety of the wood. But that is a double-edged sword, I'm sure you know.
And Willow, hand still kind of behind her back, is frowning just slightly, looking around. So the Onar came in here a couple of years ago, without invitation, and without, I'm assuming, much welcome on the part of the town. She kind of glances at Gloom.
Gloom just kind of shrugs, half affirming it, like, basically.
That is odd.
They said that the priest who serviced this church was offered a position that they could not refuse in Starwick. And we have not seen them since. They have been gone for months now. If it is true, then the priest was offered something worth giving up this town for, worth giving up this building for. I'm not sure I would want to know. It might make me hate him. And I don't want to hate him. But if it's not true, I am afraid of what the truth might be.
And Willow just kind of turns and paces up towards the front of the church again. You see her examining very closely everything around. Well, what would the ONR give a shit about this town for? No offense.
Yeah, they shrug again and just kind of gesture around like, your guess is as good as mine. We are not sitting on a bottomless resource pit like Termark. We are not near an iron mine like Starwick. All we have are the trees, which most people are thoroughly done with. It
Done
might
with.
just be that this was a place of religion that they did not like existing without their control.
You say done with the trees, done with as most people are, done with in a more recent reason.
Done with in the general sense. Most people are afraid of the woods. Even we here in Deep Field are afraid of them. Though we rely on them for defense and protection. We do not lean too heavily on the wolf at our doorstep, lest the wolf bite us back.
This church, from the looks of it, was here before this town. Or something close to it, yes?
Gloom runs a hand through their hair and kind of brushes it aside. It then just falls back into place, covering one eye. It was... It and a few of the other buildings along the town were plopped here years and years ago. By the time people moved in to make it a city and livable, some of the buildings fell to pieces. But the church was refurbished. That is why the steeple tilts so... They say this with like a little bit of a smile and go, it tilts so perfectly. It's just the right amount of tip to me.
Can I have Willow use my favorite spell?
What is your favorite spell?
Detect magic.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
See what vibes this church is giving her, if any.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, detect magic. Mhm. So, as you are detecting magic, how does it look to Willow? How does Willow perceive it, and uh, what does she do to like use the spell, to use the ability? What does it look like to the person looking on, or to the onlooker?
I imagine it just looks like her poking around to everybody. Like, when she started, like, okay, this has to be like an old world building, she kind of unconsciously plucks at like Winter, kind of inviting her forward, inviting her to look around as well. And
Mm-hmm.
just the two of them, kind of opposite sides of everything, examining. She's like going down the aisle. She's already up at the very front of the church, kind of looking at the pulpit. Walking down one aisle, looking at the glass. Like, she is almost prowling this church, being nosy. Looks like she is
Mm-hmm.
100% being nosy, and she's not even trying to hide it.
Just your natural nosiness, it very obviously is upsetting slightly to Gloom. Not enough that they're going to tell you to stop it, because you're not going anywhere that any other person could not go, but Gloom is just irked by the movement, the prowling. But they say nothing. Pierre whispers to try and quell the nerves of Gloom to say, she is a professional. We like to let her do her thing, to investigate, She's a bit of a super sleuth type. If you've never met them, they are a treat to watch work. Gloom just looks at him with a blasé attitude. Sweeping around with magic, though, the areas that you find, uh, there is magic here. It does have like a scent, a just very, very gentle touch. And you kind of meander around anywhere that a statue may have been, or on paintings or part of the glass. Places of iconography are scrubbed. There's a very, very faint, like, not layer. It's not like it's covered up with a curtain or an illusion. There's like a thin remnant, like soap scum, as if magic was used to magic was used in the process of removal. And it just kind of hangs there, just a little bit more than magic would normally hang on like a standard built house. Most of Terramarked does not hang on to magic, because most of Terramarked was built after the Weirdning. But this building was mostly refurbished. And so magic has a kind of clinginess to it in a way.
The more that, like, the more of those pieces that Willow's like able to start kind of gathering, not slotting together fully because she doesn't know why or how, but just gathering, the more she kind of is frowning to herself, starting to realize that there is I imagine she could piece together that there's a little bit more than just redecoration happening for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, I'll give you because you're kind of suspecting it anyway. I'll give you this for free, as like an additional bonus to you just being Snoopy. The way in which the magic is kind of laid out, like the actual position of the magic that you find, and the bits that are not directly over top of where art or sculpture or iconography would be, the magic is kind of in the way of where you are, like it's already in your path. And the fact that it's already kind of in your path, it lends itself to this idea of like someone was searching for something. Like someone else was in here. Like they did their cleanup and then they started looking.
Willow just does her lap, kind of pauses back at the front of the church again. You see her, she's very still, suddenly very quiet, just looking around. And then her eyes finally land on Gloom again. And there's a head to toe look that is much more like she didn't do that when she first approached Gloom. It was the very polite look at your face, that is all. But now it's assessing. Now it's sizing up. I am assuming by the armor and the weapons that you are the equivalent of a hunter here. What do they call them? Rangers?
She raises an eyebrow and goes, I prefer to think of myself as a sheriff.
Sheriff? Yeah, that's even better. So start down the middle of the aisle again. That means that you would know if there's
You start
anything.
snooping down the aisle and she just watches you go.
She's as she's walking, just hands behind the back again. If you're a sheriff, then that means that you knew anything strange that might have happened.
She is like, it's like watching someone like a bloodhound around. So she's very much watching you, and then every so often she'll throw a quick look over to Dee Dee and Pierre, but mostly Dee Dee. Like she senses something is off about Dee Dee, but she can't put a finger on why. But she says, well, I can certainly tell you, or I can tell you with certainty that the ONR being here is suspicious. But I think you figured that one out already.
Willow nods.
As for anything else, she just shrugs. If you want to get anything out of her, you can roll me a diplomacy check.
I'm good at those. I'm good at those.
Mhm.
Where's my skills? Yep. This one. That is 19.
Okay. Gloom is not opposed to sharing. So Gloom, like, and your inquiry is just, has there been anything unusual in town lately?
Pretty much at the moment.
Okay. So Gloom will stroke their chin again in this. It's a bit overdone. It's a bit of an overdone thinking gesture, like kind of stroking your chin with your whole hand. But they are doing it in earnest. It's not a bit. And as they do, they say, "Well, there was something about a few days ago. It was not something big, though. It was quite small, in fact. It was a stranger who passed through. I did not know them, but they looked ominous. They had an air about them that made me unhappy. I watched them from the shadows and rooftops until they left. I know that type of person. They never stay long. I'm not sure if they saw me, but I can tell you they walked with a purpose, like they were being chased.
And I'm willing to bet that they left town in the direction of the wood, no?
Well, Gloom just kind of, in like a sarcastic gesture, half-lidded, raises their eyebrows and goes, "Which way do you go that isn't in the woods? Up here."
There's a little snort.
There is a road.
Yeah, Willow just like, there's a little snort, kind of a smirk. And aside from them just being unpleasant, is there anything else defining about them?
Roll me in either diplomacy or deception.
They're going for diplomacy.
It's either going to be hiding. Yeah, it's either like convincing or trying to kind of cover up your intent here.
I mean, Willow is not. I will be flat out with you. Willow is being very upfront with everything that she is saying and doing right now. She doesn't give a shit. She has nothing to hide. 18?
18? Mm-hmm. That'll do it. So with an 18, you like Gloom gives you like a pretty hard look, and then kind of gets an okay vibe from you. And just goes, "I can't be sure, but I think they were a young girl. I would put her at no more than 16, but no less than 13. Did not get a good look at her. She wore a cloak and no shoes. Walking through the woods with no shoes is a bold thing to do, even for the beastie." bestial. Not beastie, bestial.
And Willow nods. Files that away for later. And see, she's kind of like turns and is staring at the pulpit again. And has there been any unusualness that has come from the O&R specifically?
Gloom, like, narrows their eyes towards the pulpit. And as they go to talk, the door to the church slams open. And from behind you see this like squat looking dude with an absolute mop of hair. He looks exhausted, like ran all the way across a football field at full tilt, exhausted. He has a gun. He's not aiming it, he is just carrying it. But he's carrying a gun, and he's wearing his overalls, his favorite pair, and his boots, and he's just like, Miss Sheriff, there's been an incident down at, well, my farm, and also down at the well. The sheriff turns to you, Willow. Would this be your company?
The one at the well would be, however, that is being sorted currently already, I promise you that. The farm is news to me as well.
She turns back to the farmer and just goes, "Who is at your farm?" He just goes, "Oh, well, this is big old, like, beastie-looking woman, and she's all bright red. And, well, there's this other woman who's standing next to her, and they took my axe, and my stump, and my wood." And he's, like, all worked up.
That would also be part of my company, unfortunately, now that I hear that description.
The man looks at you and is afraid. The sheriff looks at you and is somewhere between unimpressed and a little impressed. Like, keeping weird company is more of a boon to this person than a bane. So they look over to you and just go, "Are they going to cause problems? Or are they going to have a nice conversation by a stump?" She looks towards the farmer. "Well, I think they're going to cause problems."
Was there any bloodshed that you saw?
He opens his mouth and he's like, "Not yet. It was looking bad, though."
Willow, like, had leaned forward a little bit to, like, look around everybody to ask that question, and she just immediately straightens up as soon as he's like, "Not yet." She's like, "They're fine."
The sheriff will look to him and just go, "Okay, Samson. If you are so worried, I will go look at the farm for you and to these strangers. But they do not seem to be a threat, according to their friend." And this farmer named Samson, he just goes, "Are you sure about that? They look so nasty and mean. They're so big." Samson is quite short by comparison.
Willow just kind of tilts her head slightly. "Oh, you have horses in this town, yes? Just because the ones that pull the carts are bigger than the ones you ride doesn't mean that they're mean."
He just kind of crunches his nose and wipes it with his thumb and just goes, well, you should know they roughed up the bar something fierce, Sheriff." And she turns back to you. "Did you rough up my favorite bar? There is only one bar in town."
Willow, like, opens her mouth then closes it and tilts her head. Well, to be honest, I hadn't gone into the bar to see. There may have been a few broken chairs, but as far as I'm aware, most of the conflict happened outside. Again, hunters. At least they have one thing trained into them. Take the fight outside, away from the alcohol.
Gloom turns back to Samson. Well, I didn't like it.
Oh, I didn't like
That's
it
okay,
either.
Samson. See, Gloom turns to you with a curious look. And just goes, if you don't mind. They pulled up a finger and then turned to Samson and just go, I will be away with you in a moment. Wait for me outside, please. Thank you. And Samson just kind of pulls his hat down and kind of wrings it in his hands and he just goes, okay, I don't mean to be a burden. Step outside. And Gloom will look over to you, Willow, and she'll say, if you are willing, probably would be good to have someone there to buffer the conversation. But I find you interesting, and your crew are interesting, if not a bit of a troublemaker squad. And she looks over to Pierre and Dee Dee, both of whom switch to like, who, me? I'm not doing anything kind of postures.
Willow just kind of smiles as the gaze moves over to them. Oh, he's actually a sweetheart. He's the most mild one of the entire group. She might be a troublemaker. Depends on how bored she is.
Pierre's just like, oh, really? You mean that? And then Dee Dee's like, oh, you shouldn't have. Gloom just nonplussed looks at all of you and goes, I am going to go look at Samson's farm now. If I don't go too quickly, he will start to panic, and it is hard to calm him down.
Willow just kind of smiles. Well, he seemed actually rather open to being talked to.
He is open with me. Gloom just gives like this very, very kind of this cocky, confident smile. Like, I've dealt with this before. I know how to deal with Samson. At the very least.
Willow just takes a slow breath. And you see her kind of like look back towards the pulpit. Well, I suppose we can accompany you to make sure that our companions don't cause anything else to go wrong. Though I would appreciate a return to our previous subject at some point.
Gloom nods and will walk over to the lean down into the pew and then lift up a hat. This wide brim, like very simple wool hat that when she puts it on, it is like a very bizarre, like the full outfit is like gothic Victorian cowboy aesthetic. It is a very, very strange look that absolutely hits, and I will not take criticism. But they put their hat on and nod to you affirmatively, just like, I will not abandon your request for information. So long as you are helpful with corralling your friends, provided they are causing a ruckus. Which, there are 50-50 odds with Samson if they are actually doing something wrong.
Oh, trust me, if they were doing something wrong, I'm sure he would not have made it back.
Eyebrows go up.
you said, he seems rather excitable. I think he would have passed out.
Gloom nods and goes, "You know, you are probably right." So you all exit from the church and start making your way up towards Samson's farm. And while you are both heading there, Paige, you're still with Hawk.
Yeah.
Would you have stopped Hawk from drinking at all? Not water, booze.
Hawk would have to be like recovered, because I feel like alcohol after brain memory wipey shit is a bad idea. Like, tell me if I'm wrong here.
You're not wrong. You're not super wrong. Over the course of time that you've been sitting with Hawk, Hawk there's been like a range of emotion that kind of wisped across her face. Mixes of like of frustration and grief and worry and like anger, but nothing like the headache symptoms. It's hard to tell if they're still there or if Hawk is rubbing her brow from like frustration. It is a gamble as to whether or not she actually feels a headache or if she's just like, God fucking damn it, and rubbing her forehead. It's one of those gestures.
Okay.
If you, I don't know if there's a roll. Well, no, yeah, you can roll a perception check to see like best guess.
Best guess. How bad of an idea is this? I still can't math. I'm just gonna. How the fuck do I roll perception on this?
It's
On
the left side.
to
Under
the
AC.
to the left.
Ah,
The
there it is.
single roll is on the side to the left.
Left. Rolling.
10 with a 10.
Got a 2. Fucking oof.
Like, yeah, that's an oof. Hawk is not the most deceptive actress on the planet, but it is, yeah, like your guess is as good as it would be. Like if somebody's just pissed off and they have the mad frustrated gesture of like rubbing their forehead, which Hawk definitely does at this age and stage in her life. Trying to guess if she has any headache symptoms is basically a coin toss.
Okay. Here's a deal. 1 ale. In exchange. Asking about the book.
Make me a diplomacy check. Or say it as Paige first.
Okay.
And depending on how convincing you are as Paige.
Okay. I was I couldn't. Ow! Sorry, my knee just popped. Did you guys hear that?
No.
You okay?
Yeah, that just. Ow. Oof. Now just cracked. Jesus.
Stop hurting yourself, you old lady.
I'm sitting! I
I was wondering what part
No,
of that
sorry, I've
she'd
been-
get mad at.
Fuck off. I gotta fucking remember who the fuck is Paige. I've been in podcast mode for a while. Okay, so would Hawk just like what?
Reach for an ale?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hand over glass.
Uh,
Oh, you know that this is not a good idea when you are, recovering from the memories. You know?
roll me a perception, or not deception, or perception. Diplomacy. Yeah.
Diplomacy. I remember why I don't use the digital fucking dice. Fucking 2.
Math.
Got a 16. What's 16 plus 9? What is it?
25.
Thank you.
So, with a 25, Hawk is giving you a hard stare. Like this is the stare of someone who has, on many occasions, looked death in the face, and not flinched. And Hawk wants a drink, and 9 times out of 10, when Hawk wants a drink, she gets to drink. And so she sits there staring at Paige with like the most mean mug she can muster.
Well, if Hawk is able to stare death in the face, it's a good thing Paige isn't scared of death. What's up?
Perfect. Hawk stares at you, and you stare back at Hawk, and there's just 2 people who are completely unflinching, and in that moment, Hawk is just like, 2, and I tell you about the book.
Paige thinks. Okay, but you have to finish the water for us, so you have that at least.
So, sorry, what was the first part of your sentence?
You have to finish the water first.
She slams a hand on the table like in agreement, and it makes all of the drinks and everything on the table like jump and jostle. She just goes, deal, bang, grabs a water cup, kicks it back, and chugs the full cup of water in like probably like 5 seconds. Just reaches over and then pounds 1 full ale in a similar amount of time.
I imagine
Mug down.
Paige snorts and just hand over her mouth to stifle the giggle and kind of surprise. Like, okay, holy shit.
She pounds a water and an ale, and she grabs the second one and doesn't lift it. And she lets go of it, and then reaches down and grabs the book, pulls it out, and sets it on the table, and opens it to just past the dedication. And at the dedication, you can see the words.
Paige can't read.
Oh, you're right. She points to a handwritten thing.
Before you say anything, Paige can't read.
She points to a handwritten symbol, as if that explains everything.
Can Paige reach out to touch the book?
Yes.
Touch the book. And Joe, I'd like to use my new toy.
The thing that's like effectively like legend lore?
Yeah. I don't know what legend lore is, but I assume you're talking about the reeds, the resonance shit.
The reed resonance. Okay. In the interest of time, I think that is
a
good place
next
to
session.
hang it. Yes.
Yeah.
But that is a perfect place to end, because reed resonance is throw that in the chat. Hit the button to make it pop up in chat. Hell yeah.
Oh God.
Your hands over any object detects the significant emotional resonance attached to the item. Isn't that fucking...
Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
And this is because she can't fucking read.
I feel like you're about to
worse
get
than
like
just reading.
blasted by 50 years of bullshit in one go.
You are going to feel a lot, Paige.
Mm-hmm. Imagine Hawk gestures to it as if this explains everything, and Paige looks at it. She looks up at Hawk. She looks back down at it. She just reaches a hand to touch the handwriting, and cut, hard cut.